Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. A very good morning to all the viewers. I am Hiral Dadia and you're watching the trade setup. A lot of cues that we've been picking up from a stock specific action perspective, but global markets are going to be crucial as well. So let's quickly first start with the global news flow. Firstly, you have the Chinese authorities who've asked the nation's biggest banks to lower their deposit rates for at least the second time in less than a year. And the main reason for this is to boost growth. How this pans out for China is going to be interesting to watch out for. Moving on, you have oil, which has now started to steady a little bit as concerns with, demand have overshadowed Saudi output cut. Now, clearly, yes, this cut is going to be short-lived. So far, we just know that the cut is going to be in the month of July, but if extended, it will come in as a major support, and there could be an increase that could come in terms of crude prices. So this is an interesting space we need to watch out for over the next, say, 2 to 3 months. Moving on, you have Sequoia, who are planning to split off China, India, South Asia business, and this is amid geopolitical tensions. You have veteran Morgan Stanley dealmaker, that is Rob Kindler, who will be joining a law firm as well. And in the semiconductor space, which is absolutely hot right now, TSMC has said that their capex will be near the lower end of the target, which is almost $32 billion. And the third party Fab's annual shareholder meeting is where he said this. Overall, so that's going to be something we need to understand as to why the capex is going to go down on that front. Plus, you have Japan government, which has revamped its chip strategy, and the goal is to triple sales of the domestically produced semiconductors to more than 15 trillion yen by 2030. That's the target that they've given. And the nation centers the chips at the heart of its economic security policy as well. Moving on, you have Reddit, who's planning to cut 5% of staff and trim their hiring in the restructuring that they have been doing. Now, this is a memo that was sent to the staff as well by the CEO of the company. Moving from there on, now there has been a dam blast in Ukraine, and clearly it's Russia who has been blamed for the same as well. So, now whether this will escalate or not, and what's the impact it will have in terms of economy and markets, is what we need to watch. Interestingly, you have all the golfing stocks that were up and about in trade, and this was mainly because PGA Live, the deal that is brewing, is something which is actually fueling the sports growth. So that segment is in focus on the global markets. And lastly, the cryptocurrency space, the crackdown on Coinbase and Binance, that is actually now hitting the net worth of a lot of crypto billionaires. And you have lawsuits which are targeting Binance and Coinbase that has shaken the crypto world. Though Coinbase has threatened to take SEC fight to Supreme Court if needed. So let's see what brews over there, because immediate impact is going to be interesting to watch out for in terms of what happens to the Bitcoin, etc. Moving on, let's quickly pull up how the US markets were looking like in overnight trade. Clearly, if you see the stock futures, they have been trading pretty flat, and this is after the S&P 500 actually notched its highest close since August. So interesting moves coming in there in terms of where US markets go. In fact, the futures that were out to the Dow Jones have dipped around 8 points. S&P futures and Nasdaq futures are trading pretty much flat. So that's what it is looking like. Nasdaq, in fact, rose to the tune of almost around 3 tenths to 6 tenths of a percent to close at its highest point since 2023. So some bit of positivity from global markets, but if you see Asia as well, a pretty mixed opening is what we are seeing. And China's May trade figures is something that the markets will be eyeing. Let's quickly look at SGX Nifty from here on. SGX Nifty has had an interesting move in today's session since it's opened, because clearly SGX Nifty did hit a good high. It was up almost around 50 to 60 points, but now, we are just seeing a mere 14 points move on SGX Nifty. We are below the 18,700 mark on that front. So that's where we could see some bit of pressure in terms of opening trade. Taking the trade setup into consideration from there on, as we've mentioned, there has been extreme volatility in the markets over the last couple of trading sessions. In fact, on the day yesterday, the entire day we were trading in the negative, and in the last 15 to 30 minutes of trade, we did see a sudden spike of nearly 50 points that did come in on Nifty 50. Clearly the markets are lacking a clear trend, and that's what the crux of the markets is as of now. Two events that the markets are watching out for is the RBI monetary policy, that is tomorrow, as well as the outcome of the Fed. And the indications are whether majority of them are expecting there could be a pause coming in there. On a technical front, there is absolute uncertainty amongst the traders, and that's what the trend between bank nifty as well as nifty is indicating. In fact, the put writers are exiting, and the aggressive buildups that we are seeing in terms of positions by call writers at 18,600 strike is something which is telling us the kind of uncertainty that is prevailing. Now, if Nifty has to hold an uptrend, it needs to maintain those 18,400 to 18,450 levels in trade, and from there on we could see key resistance coming in at 18,750 to 18,800 levels. And if you see in terms of bank nifty as well, we are anticipating support levels at around 43,900 to 43,700, and the resistance is placed at around 44,400 on the upside. So that's what the technical data is indicating clearly. There is consolidation in the markets. There is no clear trend emerging right now, but overall the bottom line is that there is positivity. The data indicators are indicating strength in terms of the overall market so far. Moving on, one sector that was extremely crucial yesterday was Nifty IT, which actually took the markets lower yesterday. In fact, it was one of the top losing sectors and dragged primarily by persistent systems and Coforge. In fact, if you talk about Infosys as well, that is currently in a downing trend, and it seems that it's actually approaching the oversold zone. So there could be some bit of further selling pressure that could come in terms of where Infosys goes. So that's going to be a sector in focus. In fact, we will be discussing what's the roadmap from here on in trade talks at 8:30 with Apurva Prasad as well. So watch out for the show pretty closely. In terms of brokerage calls, you have Ambuja Cement that will be in focus, as they have been cut to add at Access Capital, and they have a target price of 485 on the stock. ONGC has been cut to neutral at Goldman Sachs with a target price of 160, and Team Lease is an interesting one where it's raised to a buy at Motilal Oswal. In fact, they have a target price of 2,890, which implies a 34% increase from the current market price. And they've said that the valuations are turning attractive, and the long term growth story, it seems to be pretty much intact with Team Lease. We will give you more details in terms of the report as well during the next show. Moving on to other stocks, you have the fertilizer pack that will be in focus. An interesting news spec that I picked up from China was wherein China fertilizer deal with Canpotex that has actually now signaled that the prices would be bottoming out. In fact, Canpotex has reached an agreement with China's Potash Committee, and this deal will go through till 31st December 2023. The price is at around $307 per metric ton, and on this one, if you see, the last deal that was done in India was $422 per ton. Now it's almost $115 per ton below the April contract that was signed in India. So, what's the kind of relief it will give to Indian fertilizer companies is going to be an interesting aspect that we need to wait and watch, and whether there will be renegotiations that could be coming in terms of the price point. Adani Group of companies also will be in focus. You have BSE, which has gone ahead and revised the prices for four group companies, the price bands, I beg your pardon. So Adani Wilmar, Adani Green, Adani Transmission from 5% to 10%, as well as the price band for Adani Power has been revised from 5% to 20%. And they have plans to raise as much as $1.5 billion in total through bond sales by Adani Green Energy, Adani Transmission, and ports. Private placements will be considered as well, and the tenors could be as long as 20 years. So the kind of positivity that we've seen since the lows it hit in the month of March, the stocks have seen gains of almost around 50 to 60%. So the upside is expected to continue basis what investor interest is coming in, the kind of delivery data that we've been picking up as well on these counters. Bank of Maharashtra, in fact, one disclaimer before that is that BQ Prime, the owner, Quintillion Business Media, wherein AMG Media, which is a subsidiary of Adani Enterprises, holds a 49% stake, and that's the channel that you've been watching right now. Moving on, you have Bank of Maharashtra from the financial space that will be in focus, a QIP that has been approved at 28.5 rupees per share. It's a 5% discount to the floor price, and an aggregate of around 1,000 odd crores is what the bank is looking at. So some bit of momentum that could be coming in on Bank of Maharashtra. Mascot Shipyard. Now, the stock has been seeing some smart moves over the last couple of trading sessions. If you see the last 5 days chart, you'll see the kind of up moves that we've seen on this counter. And now Germany is nearing a $5.2 billion deal to build submarines in India. And Tyson Group and Mascot are likely to bid jointly for the project. So you will see some bit of up move that could continue on a shipyard as well. GMR Airports is looking to divest their Hyderabad warehouse. It's a mere sum of around 188 odd crores, but there could be some bit of momentum coming in there. Torrent Power is going to be an interesting one, an MOU that they've signed with the government of Maharashtra for an investment of around 27,000 odd crores, and the projects are going to be executed towards 5 years. Now, the investment amount is absolutely as big if you see in terms of the overall market cap of Torrent Power as well. As compared to that, the number is absolutely huge. So that's going to be an interesting one to watch out for. Star Cement could see some bit of selling pressure. You have the promoters which who have gone ahead and sold stake. So watch out for Star Cement's in trade today. Overall, the cement space is pretty much in a good space. JK Cement saw some good gains yesterday. Ultratech and Grasim were two of the top gainers in Nifty 50 as well. And analysts have a pretty mixed approach towards the long term uh, trend there. And very lastly, watch out for a Zomato and trade from the listed space, because clearly the price is back to its IPO price of 72 to 76. In fact, the stock did hit a low of around 40.6, so it's been almost 2 years. Now, what is working for them probably is that if you see in terms of the fourth quarter, their net losses have squeezed meaningfully overall. In fact, you have brokerages who've gone ahead and upgraded their target price post Q4 earnings as well. So watch out for a Zomato in trade today. And from a longer term perspective, you could see that up move that could continue because in terms of the target price as well, a pretty up move and an upside is pretty strong. And very lastly, if you see from the primary markets, IQ Lightning. Now, the IPO has been fully subscribed. They've got almost 155% demand on the first day of the sale, and the offer closes tomorrow. So another 2 days of listing is some another 2 days of subscription is what we will be eyeing. So watch out for this stock as well. Sorry, in the primary markets, but clearly a lot of stock specific action is what is slated for the day. In fact, let's quickly look at who all we are speaking to. Apurva Prasad of HDFC Securities will be talking to us at 8:30 a.m. to discuss about the IT sector, the impact of the US company gumming out and cutting their guidance on the Indian firms. And to be noted that Motilal Oswal has said that it's mainly Persistent System, which is a closest peer, and that's the reason why we did see that kind of a cut. We have Sanjeev Prasad from Kotak Institutional Equities who will be joining us on Talking Point at 10 a.m. From a corporate place, we have Puneet Lalbhai of Arvind will be joining us as well to discuss about what's in store from here on. And plus, the demand aspect, it seems, has been turning for textile companies, specifically from US as well as the European market. And at 1 p.m., you will be hearing Radhika Rao from DBS Bank as well to discuss about what's in store from the MPC. Ajit Mishra from Redigare will be joining us to discuss about the technicals that should be looked at from a Nifty and Bank Nifty perspective, and all about the mutual funds segment. You have Mohit Gang and Hemat Rustogi who will be joining us at 4 p.m. So lots to watch and lots to look out for. Please stay tuned to BQ Prime today. That's a wrap today.